Alright, this is the start of my ttrpg uh, channel. It's ttrpg is tabletop role-playing games. So what I want to do with this channel, with this being the introductory of hopefully many to come, is to talk basically about tabletop role-playing games. So primarily I'm probably going to be talking about the Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder, because those two are the most popular that are out there right now. So and those are the two I'm either into or getting into. So with Dungeons and Dragons, I was first introduced to it for, probably like a good 30 years ago with second edition. So I'm dating myself a little bit with that. So a lot has changed with the D&D since then. So with second edition, longtime players will remember things like THACO, two hit armor class 0. So back when you had having a -10 AC was actually a good thing, and of course now that is pretty much unheard of, because it goes in the things like AC goes in the other direction. So but like I said, with the primarily I'm going to be talking about D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, and Pathfinder. So recently I just got a friend starting into Dungeons and Dragons, with fifth edition, which is the latest one that's out. Of course, I stand corrected. D&D Beyond just came out and everything. So fifth edition is the second latest one to come out, with D&D Beyond being the one that's just recently come out. And of course from a lot of the stuff that the videos and TikToks and everything that I've come across. Apparently, Wizards of the Coast was going down my opinion, the stupid route of trying to going down the route of micro transactions, you find in a lot of the uh, uh, video games that you find on your phones or your iPads or whatever, which in a sense kind of defeats the purpose of trying to bring people in and everything. But there was backlash on that, and so a lot of times with the, especially on TikTok, I saw there was a lot of blowback for that. So what I'll with Dungeons and Dragons, what I'll be doing going forward with that is probably talk about get into some of the old school stuff with second edition. So I'll probably be a bit fuzzy with my memory, because I don't have any books anymore to really be able to pull information directly from that. So a lot of it, the second edition, I'll be pulling from memory. So I'll be kind of trying to remember a stuff that's well over 20, when I really was into it with friends and everything. It was at least 20 years ago. So we do I do remember when we were playing second edition, and third edition came out. Of course, all of us that were playing oh, we don't need third edition, second edition's fine the way it is and everything. We had the kind of that resistance to change. And then when we got into third edition, it ended up being oh my god, this is actually kind of good and cool and everything. So the it ended up streamlining a lot of things. And I remember it especially expanded on the multi-class, because you were very limited in what you could do with multi-class and with second edition. And there's some classes that you couldn't take as a certain races, the paladin was probably the most famous one, is that you could only be a human to be a paladin. And you couldn't to multi-class, you had to pretty much start off as a multi-class. So the character that I remember even to this day is the namesake of this channel, is that I played an elven fighter thief in second edition named Renarius Ashkevron, who was we got it was one of those high powered campaigns, and I got so good at stuff they had percentiles for your thief skills. So for instance stealth and pickpocket or whatever, they were probably different names back then, but like it was like at 99% with both of them, and I had even with wearing full plate, being a fighter thief and everything. So like it was one of those high power type of games, and so like but then like the D&D game evolved into third edition, where it actually streamlined a lot of things. Where like it still kept the same 6 core abilities of strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, and like it streamlined it. You can also get like different skills, and it was based on like what's now known as the D20 system. So like uh, and it's pretty much evolved into that. So like I haven't played fourth edition, so like I really can't comment on that until I start getting material for it and be able to dive into that. So like I know like I've from what I remember hearing like through like the grapevine or whatever, is that fourth edition wasn't really that popular. So like it kind of like a lot of people tend to skip over from fourth edition, and like people can probably correct me. Like I'm not sure if like they consider Pathfinder fourth edition or whatever, but like because that Pathfinder's by Paizo's, not Wizards of the Coast. So like it could be like could be my memory being a bit fuzzy about the stuff and everything. So like because it's just like a few years ago, like getting into fifth edition for the first time, and now like after several year hiatus, getting back into it and everything. So like what I'll be doing with this channel is talking about like a lot of the products and like maybe campaigns like I've been in, and like I've mentioned with like the second edition, that namesake of this channel, and the characters I've played, the campaigns I've gone through, and I will go through as either a player or as a DM. I'll go through the whole terminology of like the whole gameplay. So like even though there's like a lot of names and stuff out there already, what I'll try to do is kind of give my perspective on like how like each iteration of the editions has changed, and like where things kind of stand now, and like how I view like certain things, and like I'll probably eventually get into D&D Beyond and see how that stacks compared to 5th edition, now getting back into that. And like I said, I'll be getting into Pathfinder as well, like because I have stuff like that. So like my plan is to get more people, like friends and family involved. And as I run more campaigns, either as a player or as a DM, most likely I'll probably be going as a DM to get other people, like especially friends and family, involved, and trying to get them involved in like of course there's especially been like a resurgence in that in the last few years, especially with like now like the movie that's being out, which I went and saw opening weekend. So like it's with a game as massive as D&D, there's going to be so much to cover and everything. So like I said, I'll be going over like I'll probably start with like the 5th edition and go over like the core rule books, adventure rule books, probably like stuff that you can do on like how to like create your own stuff as like maybe utilize free like existing campaign settings. Like the most popular one, the flagship of D&D right now, is the Forgotten Realms, which the movie was based in. How you could maybe use a pre-existing campaign to run your own adventures, and like also like probably see like build off like other channels and like give ideas on like how to run like the pre-made adventures, like of course like some of the big ones, like one I ran through like as a player several years ago was like the Curse of Strahd. So like that one is a popular one. So like as I run through those adventures, I'll probably like be making videos on those. And like and the other one I'll be getting into big time is that I've mentioned is Pathfinder. So like the second edition of Pathfinder just recently came out. So I have like the first edition like core rule book and the Game Master Guide. I do have a series of adventure books like Age of Ashes that I'll be running through, like and I'll probably put my insights on that and everything. So like as soon as I run through those, so like that, and I'll probably like also get into like other role-playing games as like things continue and everything. So like there's like a lot of other ttrpgs that are out there. Of course, like I said, the big two seen right now are D&D and Pathfinder. So there's also like a one I picked up probably like 15 years ago or so, was like Farscape, which was based on the sci-fi TV show, and it's based on the D20 system and everything. So there's like a lot of like you'll find that TV shows or movies and stuff that have their own role playing games, and I noticed in some local stores they have a role playing game based on Lord of the Rings, and I was I thought about getting the book, but I've held off. But flipping through it, it looks like it's not necessarily based on a D20. So eventually I'll probably get into that, being a big Lord of the Rings fan as well. I'll probably eventually get into that someday. And of course there's also other ones like Starfinder I've noticed, and so another company that I've come across, White Wolf, which is the creator of things like Vampire Masquerade, Hunter the Reckoning, and the one that I got into back in the late 90s was a sci-fi role-playing game called Trinity, which was set in the early 22nd century. So it was set in the year 2120, so basically about 100 years in the future. And that one deals about psionic powers and everything. So my brother and I ran through a campaign of that back in the late 90s. So that's what's introduced me to that. So there's also of course there's just also other sci-fi RPGs that you can get into. So the best usually the best places to check out if you're just getting started in role-playing games would be your local game shops and everything. So luckily there's a couple that I can go to and everything. So I can pick up anything from dice to the adventure books, the core rule books, and any of add-ons. So sort of for instance with D&D, you've got a couple expansions that expansions Tasha's Uncontrol I have it, but there's Tasha's one or whatever. There's a Volotham's Guide to Monsters, and there's Xanathar's Guide to Everything. So there's three I forget the whole 100% sure on Tasha's total title or whatever, but there's three expansions that build upon the core rule books and everything. So and of course you got also content here on YouTube, and you can also go into TikTok and go into D&D TikTok, and people are creating videos on quick videos on that, which TikTok is great for a quick tidbits and hey look, yeah, here's something cool and everything. Where the drawback is you can only do 3-minute videos there, where you can't necessarily go as in depth as you can maybe on here and everything. But what's great about it is being short like that is you can kind of give quick tidbits and everything about any number of topics that come up. So eventually I'll be I said, I'll be working my way through rule books and going tips on what to pull and what to use, and yeah, a lot of times there are starter sets which are in my opinion the perfect way for new players, new DMs, people who have never experienced the game itself. So if you are someone who's recently seen the Dungeons and Dragons movie with starring Chris Pike and Michelle Rodriguez, that would be a great starter set would be a great way to kind of introduce yourself to the actual tabletop role-playing games. And starter sets I think are $20-25, and what it does, it gives you they give you a condensed version of the rule book, 64 pages, where they give you a pre-made character sheets, a pre-made adventure, some dice and stuff, basically all you need to get started. So you can hand out you pick it up at your local shop or whatever, and you for $20-25, like I said, you can basically get into the role-playing game of Dungeons and Dragons, and then pretty much build from you and your friends can build and go from there. So for instance, like you start off like with the starter set and like $20, and like and if for some reason like you find like you're not really interested in it, like the worst that happens is you're down like $20 and everything, and like you can maybe pass it along to someone else who could be able to like be into it. And the best thing that could happen is you actually get into D&D and everything, and then of course you kind of find like a new like a hobby that you like that you actually get into, so like you can get in actually expand upon it, so like you can like yeah, like of course the next step would probably be like, okay, well, like everybody loves the starter set, so now we gotta build upon this. So like you end up like maybe spending the money to get like the player's handbook, the Dungeons Master's Guide, the Monsters Manual, and quite possibly like maybe one of the pre-made adventures like the Curse of Strahd I mentioned. So like well, it could the best like the worst case scenario, like I said, you're down $20. Okay, well, we didn't really care for it or everything. The best case scenario is like I've just mentioned, is that you actually build upon like and get the other books and start playing even more, and then like you can maybe even get the even more of your friends and family into it and everything. So like and the whole purpose of like the role-playing games is just like board games, computer games, or like just like any type of game like that you can get into. Like a big game computer game I'm into is Final Fantasy 14, so something like that you could take it off the computer screen, where you're in a sense in essence you're playing by yourself, even though you're going online and playing with hundreds of thousands if not millions of people. It get the ttrpgs gives you more of like an in-person like back and forth like connection with people and everything. So like I'll mention the movie again. Like you see like a lot of the shenanigans and stuff like and the interactions between the characters and everything. So like that's pretty much indicative of what can and does go around like tables. And so like you end up like with like of course like a lot of times like with TV shows, like you have like a lot of like famous one-liners and stuff. Like Monty Python of course is like famous for like the one-liners and skits and everything. So like if you remember like Monty Python, like the search for the Holy Grail, like the Black Knight, and he gets his arms and legs chopped off, like, oh, it's just a flesh wound. You end up like with stuff like that, like around the tables, of course. Like and the one of the memes that has gone around is like it shows a picture of like the Fellowship of the Ring from the movies of Lord of the Rings. It shows them all lined up, and it's like how D&D campaigns start, and then underneath it shows like the cast of the Monty Python and the Search for the Holy Grail going like running away from like the White Rabbit, and it's like how they end up running or whatever. And of course the other alternative is like they show like the cast from Robin Hood Men in Tights and everything. So like it's like tabletop RPG games are pretty much what you make of it. So like the whole point of this video as an introductory one is to kind of like go over the stuff like what like I've been into, and like what I plan on going over, and like and so like I'll reiterate that like I want to like with this channel go over like the core rule books of like all the games that like I've played and or come across. And so like I'll be starting off with like the two that I have like the most familiarity with is like Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder. And as I continue down, I'll try like I'll be thinking, like I said, I mentioned Starfinder, and like I'll be mentioning like other RPGs like the Farscape one based on the TV show, like and like the Trinity game. And I'll probably end up going like as I pick up more stuff, and like as time goes on, I'll probably get into like the other White Wolf ones, like the Hunter, Reckoning, Vampire the Masquerade, and like they also have like a werewolf one too. So like I forget the title of that one, but like people can probably mention that in the comments and everything. So like hopefully I'll put like with the way my schedule is, I'll probably be getting to this like at least like once a week on Sundays and everything, because like running a busy like how life is being busy with like typical full-time job and running errands on Saturdays and basically living life and everything. Like I'll be able to get a chance to at least do at least one video a day, or a week on and most likely on Sundays when I actually have time to sit back and kind of collect myself after like a hectic week and everything. So hopefully people will find my insights in this introductory one and in my upcoming videos on everything of the ttrpgs insightful and everything. Until next week.